In today's silliness, we smell the flowers, drool over the sound of a classic engine. And Debbie asked the question,
so what's this one for this week?
Now then, and welcome to the video. As ever, a big thank you to all you likers, watchers and subscribers. And we're especially grateful to those of you who take time out of your busy schedules to comment on the things that we get up to on this channel. And if you've got out to say, you've got any questions or even suggestions for things that we can get up to on the channel, well, why don't you put them in the comment box, wherever YouTube's put it this week, and I'll do my very best to get back to you. Well, this week, well, it's a real treat for all you engine buffs. I've managed to secure just a little bit of an interview with a guy who owns a boat that has the rare Lister JS3 engine. It was produced from 1959 to about 1969, so in Lister terms, it's a bit of a one-off. It was like the sports version of the JP3. Consequently, with the higher RPM, because the JP3s were 1200 and the JS3 was 1500, they had quite a lot of problems with engine. Bit of a troublesome centre crank bearing, I believe. The old JS3, well, it produced a mind-boggling 43.5 horsepower. Pretty good for an engine of that age. I'm not sure why they discontinued the JS3. Maybe it was something to do with that troublesome centre crank bearing. Still, it was a lovely sound to hear from that engine, and long may it continue. Let's crack on. Lister was founded in 1867 by a Robert Ashton Lister. The first factory was in Dursley. By 1890, they produced their first petrol engine, which was used mostly to power sheep shearing equipment. Meanwhile, in 1893, a James B. Petter and his sons founded the Petter Company, and within 3 years, they produced the first internal combustion engine car in the UK. By 1912, Petter had expanded to employing 500 people, producing 1,500 engines per year. Lister weren't dragging their feet either. By 1920, R.A. Lister Company Limited were involved in worldwide markets and had over 6,000 retail units in the UK. In 1929, Lister produced the first of its CS, or cold start engines, with one cylinder and producing 9 horsepower. It was nicknamed the 9-1. The engines were renowned for their reliability and long life, and were used extensively in the Commonwealth. And it was at this time that they started to paint them with this distinctive Brunswick green colour. By 1957, Petter had been bought by Hawker Siddeley, and some 8 years later, Lister was also bought by Hawker Siddeley after the death of Charles Lister. In 1986, Hawker Siddeley merged both Lister and Petter, renaming them Lister Petter, and with their expertise they managed to develop the Alpha engine. In 2004, Lister Petter was bought out and once again began to thrive in its traditional markets. In the years leading up to 2017, Lister Petter was beginning to fall on hard times. But luckily, Sleeman Hawken swooped in and purchased the company. They were very knowledgeable about all the goings on at Lister Petter. After all, they've been working with them for over 50 years. To this day, Lister Petter still produce quality diesel engines. I wonder if they do parts for JS3 engines. I did find on the interweb many suppliers of Lister parts, and even though the CS or cold start engine was discontinued in 1987 in England, in India production still continues. These engines are affectionately known as Listeroids. They're clones of the originals, and they're quite popular with the off-grid type people because they're reliable, they run on different types of fuel, and they just keep on going. I found all the information regarding the Lister engines on a variety of websites, which I'll put on the screen as it goes along. I'll also put them in the description box if I remember. There's stacks of information on the Lister engines and loads of sites and forums where you can ask and answer questions. If you're an expert on the Lister engine and where you can get parts from, why not give me a shout? I'll pass any information along to Richard. I'm pretty sure he'll be very grateful for that. Well, I'm off to look for a Lister engine. Quite cheap at the moment. Now, just before we set off to Crick at the weekend, I happened to just be stood on the well deck and a lovely boat went by. One of those put engines, you know, them old things. And I just managed to get hold of the geezer who owns it, and he's very kindly offered to show us round the engine room of his boat. Yes, I can hear my wife's eyes roll from here, but I'm ever so excited. Oh, look at that, and it's shiny.
Well, it's been shinier, but yeah, she deserves lots of TLC, I think.
Yeah,
she really does.
So this is Richard's boat.
It is, yeah, hi.
And this is Richard here.
Hi. I haven't had the boat very long. I've only had it for a couple of months, and I'll be delighted to hear from other people who know lots about this engine and any information anybody can tell me about it, actually, to be honest, because I'm just such a start of a massive learning curve, really. So engines aren't my background, but I'm so keen and happy to have the thing and be able to to look after it, really, and do some good. But I know for a fact that's a journey where I need other people to help me along that way, really.
Yeah.
So glad to be able to share the joy with other people, really.
Yeah. So how long have you had this boat?
I've had the boat now for 2 months.
2 months. And what did you have before?
I had a 40-foot narrowboat, which had a nice, easy Beta Marine Beta 38 engine.
Yeah.
Which was really, well, I think this engine is simple, but it's simple to look after because there's so much knowledge out there about it and things, and parts were easy and things like that. Yeah. So yeah, so very much at the start of a learning curve. And
what made you decide to get another boat then?
Well, I wanted a bigger boat because I've got more room for when my grown-up youngsters are with me. So it's 50 foot, but there's loads of storage because of the tug deck.
Yeah, lovely tug deck there, isn't it, at the front?
Yeah. But the chap I bought it off, he's ex-forces, and he really did know the engine inside out.
Yeah.
But he's off abroad now, so he needs to find friends.
So what made you plump for a really old, hard to get parts for engine?
Yeah, I think it's many people's dream, I think, isn't it? have the joy and responsibility of looking after an old engine. And yeah, I think really there's just it's just the charm, I suppose, and a huge interest as well, and being able to meet other people as well who are interested in it. I find that really lovely. People stop by and say, "Oh, blimey, now what's that? What you got there then?" And so I've been really enjoying that.
Yeah. So what's special about this engine then? Because it's not just the run-of-the-mill Lister, is it?
No, it's so it's a JS3, which is similar to a JP3, which many people may be familiar with. But this was not so many of these were made. But it's got so it's got a higher horsepower than the JP3.
Right.
So a higher capacity, but you know, more capacity in the engine, etc. There's certain things. It's got like there's an automatic oil feed to the heads, which the JP3 doesn't have.
Right.
But I think really, I think most of it is original. So it's got the original starter motor.
Yeah.
The alternator might not be. I think I might have a problem with this alternator. Something I don't actually understand. There's a switch here which seems to change the voltage, but at the moment I've got a little meter here, which is supposed to be telling me the number of amps that it's producing. It never moves, so I'm really not too sure.
Yeah.
But the voltage does seem to change a bit, but not kind of like any great consistency. So you'd sort of hope it would chuck out about 14.5 volts, but it seems to go up to like 17. So I think, right. Yes, at times it does. So I think there might be a problem within that alternator, which I would dearly love to find somebody who could probably help me with that and help me sort of diagnose that. I've got another problem. There's a slight leak here on this sort of these compression control valves. But yeah. As I understand it, on the canals are best just left closed, really, because it's not doing enough work to justify opening them up, etc. But there's a slight leak there. Comes up when the engine's been running quite a while. Try to undo this great big thing here. I can't shift it. Yeah. So again, I'd love to find some help with that. The cooling system, I don't think it's working as well as it should do. So I've got to go over the Ribble link soon, but I'm going to go for a tow because I don't think the cooling system is up to it. You know, because I've been running about 3 hours, fairly high revs. Yeah. Well, I'm just not confident that that's going to keep it cool. Water does come through into the header tank there, but it only sort of comes through in small pulses, really. Yeah. I kind of think it should be doing more than that. I also think probably when it was probably designed to have a much better cooling system than it's got in this narrowboat. So there is a skin tank in there, but I'm just not too confident when this thing gets really going whether that will be enough to keep it cool. So there's a water pump down here. I do think I've got possibly got a problem with that water pump. Right. Because water does appear. I don't know if you can see it, but it's around the back here. So it's this. I've got a sort of towel wrapped around it at the moment. So I met somebody who told me to put some stiffer grease in it. Yeah. The water does sort of spit out a bit from the top of the piston there. So there's a possible problem there. Whether it needs to be rebored, I don't know. But that might be a reason why the water's not sort of pumping round as much as I think it ought to. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it is working as it should, but it's a bit of a worry. Yeah. Again, it would be lovely to. But I think that water pump is the same as on the JP3s, so there might be more people out there who know a bit more about it. Maybe some of the tubes have got grease stuck in them in places. I don't know. But stuff like that to work out would be lovely to get going. But
and how's it controlled? Is it the old-fashioned wheels?
So it's got a speed wheel at the back, which comes through on this on that cable there. And there's basically the regulator there, which goes in and out, which is controlled by that speed wheel. Yeah. Which is nice. And it's kind of a bit different to my old engine, in that, you know, when you're driving the boat, it's very different. So that everything has to be sort of a bit more pre-planned, because it takes a little while for the engine to sort of pick up once you've changed the speed wheel. And obviously, you know, going up or going down. So it feels like old-fashioned boating, you know, where you're thinking ahead all the time and no sort of thrashing around, just taking it easy and just planning ahead. Really.
And even the speed you were going was quite brisk for the lanky, but you didn't leave much of a wake, did you?
No, the boat itself has been beautifully designed. The swim lines and everything else is just fantastic. I think that the guy that made these, what was it called? Ted? Was it Ted Spencer? I think it was. And he only made 10 boats actually in his career. And this was one of them. So I think it would be interesting to talk to other people who have the same, well, at least boats made by the same guy.
Yeah.
It'd be so interesting. But yeah, it just cuts through the water beautifully. And my old boat, it used to create quite a wake. I think it's because it was smaller, and it just just wasn't designed well. So I think there's at the front there's a bit of a sort of a Joshua bow at the front of the boat as well, which I think helps just where it cuts through the water. But yeah, it's wonderful. Another thing I really like about it is because the engine's in the middle, when you're going along, you can still hear all the birds and everything outside. Whereas in the other boat, it was you literally stood on top of the engine and that's all you could hear really. So that's really nice. And the sound of the engine is
it was beautiful when I heard it.
It's nice. So we can fire up if you want.
Oh well, that was the next question.
That's the next question. Oh, sorry.
That was the next question.
So excited to start the
yeah, let's have it. Let's hear it going.
Okay, I'll just go check the speed wheel. See down here. Okay, so we have electric start. There is a starting handle, but I wouldn't like to do that without somebody who can guide me with that. But eventually we'll get there. Eventually. So here we go.
That's beautiful. So is that tick over for this engine?
That's about tick over, yeah. She'll go a little bit lower.
Yeah.
That's about as low as she'll go.
Beautiful that sounds. And what sort of horsepower does this throw out?
I think it's around about 40.
Yeah.
Maybe 42.
Which should be plenty enough to get it over the Ribble link, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. That would be absolutely fine. What worries me about Ribble link is the cooling system.
Yeah.
Because what I really don't want to do is it to overheat and end up with repairs that would be so difficult for me to do.
Yeah.
I don't like to think what might happen. So we might be overcautious.
Well,
it might be absolutely fine, but it's at the moment I don't feel confident enough to do it.
No.
Until I know that the cooling system is doing what it should do.
Yeah.
And somebody else will know.
Yeah.
So we're going over the Ribble link and then we're heading down towards sort of Chester area.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going that way. So anybody down that area, I'm so delighted to meet anybody who can tell me a little bit more.
I think you will certainly find that out on the canal.
I so appreciate it. I so appreciate it, and that's what I really love about Canal Vibe is everybody just helping each other out.
Yeah.
Sharing knowledge and just sort of sharing the joy, really.
Yeah. Oh,
There she is. Yeah, JS3, and if there's anybody else out there with a JS3, I would love to meet them. And as far as I know, I don't have any other boats with JS3 in them.
yeah.
So, that would be fantastic.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for letting me have a look around your beautiful engine.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Now, before you all rush off and do something far more important than watching this video, why don't we answer that question that Debbie asked right at the beginning of this video.
So what's this one for this week?
It's for maintenance moment of the week this week. I did a brolly.
Oh, still not done the pots though, have you?
No, that's not maintenance. He's a marvel, that lad. There we are, the Lister JS3 engine. And a beautiful sounding engine it is. I'm quite jealous of Richard, and I really want one of those engines for my boat. I know it won't fit. It's probably take up half the bedroom as well as the engine room. But never mind, we can all dream. I've not even done a sneaky peek bit for this week's video because I haven't filmed anything yet. So next time, could be anything. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, why don't you give it a thumbs up? Subscribe if you want to see more. And if you click that little bell icon, YouTube will mind you next time we release one. Well, that was about everything on my list for this time. Till next time.